Good morning. Before we get started, please like and subscribe. Please share my channel. Please comment whether you agree with me or not. Thank you for being here. I love having you here. So this morning, I'm leaving for work right now. It's early. It's very early. This is my second to last weekend that I'm working. So I get up a lot earlier when I work this shift. And it's just been really beautiful outside. I mean, even we've had a couple of rain showers, but we needed that. And the grass is green. It's the end of summer, and we're heading into the fall season, which is my favorite. But, you know, I've been thinking an awful lot about just what makes up life. I've been watching some videos about there are scientists, physicists out there who believe that all living things have what they call a soul. And I found this very interesting. The way that a scientist that I saw the other day separated the idea of a soul, or what he considers the life force or the living part of a body. I mean, a body in and of itself is just kind of it's just an object, and it's made out of, water and matter, and, to have something living, breathing, moving around, doing things, making decisions, whether conscious or unconscious, he calls that part of us, the living part of us, the soul. But this particular scientist separated the soul. He said that everything living has a soul, even plants have a soul. Things that are alive, like he talked about photosynthesis, and he talked about the way that animals, move about the earth and do their thing, and he considers every living thing to have a soul. But what differentiates human beings is that human beings have a conscious, intelligent soul that makes decisions, conscious decisions, and has there's a level of thoughtfulness that goes into the things we do. Animals operate on instinct, and plants just do what plants do. Bacteria does what bacteria does, and the living things on this earth just do what they do. But human beings calculate things. We are very thoughtful and mindful, and we consider things, we consider options, and we consider things before we make a move. And we also have our emotions. We sometimes act or react based on our emotions. And and that's what he separated as far as the soul from the spirit and the eternal spirit. But as he was talking about this, and separating humans, he was basically saying, because we have emotions, there were, I think, 4 things that he talked about, 3 or 4 things that humans have that other things don't have, and emotions were one of them. Reason, like mathematical equations, figuring things out, emotions. And I thought to myself, what dog have you ever known that didn't display emotion? And animals, there are animals that display emotion. And I wanted to look a little bit deeper into this, because I have seen videos where somebody is training chimpanzees, or they're around them, or they're in a zoo, and the chimpanzees would have a baby, and they would hug their child and hold their child and look at their child lovingly, and basically treat their child the same way that a human being the way we treat our children, in a loving way. And I've had lots of dogs in my life. I've had several dogs. And now cats are very loving also. People think cats are so aloof and that they're not loving, and that's not true. I've had dogs and cats. And my dogs, I don't know. Could I safely argue that they have emotions. What is it about pets? What it is about, especially dogs and cats? And there are people who have big cats as pets. There are people who have, like leopards, or, people who train lions or tigers, Siegfried and Roy, and they knew their animals well, and they knew they had a bond with their animals. And horses are another one. My sister has always had horses, and we used to ride when I was younger. But horses are very affectionate, and I have to wonder, animals seem to have the ability, the capacity for love and affection. And that's what I wanted to talk about with dogs. Dogs are very affectionate animals, and they show their affection. They show their affection for human beings, and dogs also show their affection for each other. They show their affection for other animals. If you have dogs that are in your family and in your household, and they're very, part of your family, and then say that a duck leaves a bunch of ducklings, or leaves a duckling in the nest, and that duckling is an orphan, and you bring that little duckling home with you, a dog will mother that duckling and take it in. A cat will too sometimes. But it's happened with bunnies, animals that dogs are ordinarily hardwired to hunt and eat. If you bring them into the house, they'll put their little arm around them and pet them with their paw and lick them and groom them and treat them like they're their own. And so where does that come from? I have this fascination with the idea that I truly believe that dogs are the next thing to God. I believe that there are animals, and to finish my thought, I believe there are animals that will be in heaven, or animals that will be in the afterlife. And when Noah in the Bible built the ark, the whole world flooded, and it killed everything on the earth, the story of Noah and the ark. And Noah took 2 of each animal, and some could argue that, well, that was just for the ecosystem. Yes, I mean, animals, plants, bugs, spiders, you name it, even bacteria, amoeba, all the microscopic things, and all these plankton, all these things are necessary for our ecosystem. That is true. But if for people who have had dogs and cats like I have, I don't own a zoo, and I've never been around giraffes. I've seen them in a zoo, but I've never had an opportunity to interact with them. However, I do have a friend who has a wildlife rescue. His name is Andy Klein, and he has a wildlife rescue in Odessa, Florida. It's Odessa Wildlife Rescue, and he has raccoons, he has fox. I almost want to say, I think he has a zebra. There are a lot of exotic animals, and there are animals that people would, bring in and think that it was really cool to have a zebra, and then, they couldn't care for the poor thing, and they would become orphaned and not have a home. And Andy will take these animals in, and I call him Dr. Doolittle, because if you ever see him with his animals, they're nuzzling up to him. Even animals that we consider predators or apex predators or scary animals, there are people who raise alligators and befriend alligators, and the gator that's their buddy, just nuzzles right up and climbs on them and sits in their lap. And I mean, so there's an argument for animals having the ability to be affectionate. Now, does that mean they have emotions? Does that mean that they know how to love, or that they have, I believe animals have the capacity to love because they love their young. I think that's love. But let me know what you think. I mean, when they were talking about only humans have the capacity for a higher, love, affection, emotions. Really, they were talking about emotions. And I honestly I don't think that's true. I think animals have that. And I think that, I think animals are smarter than we think. I think animals have more to them than some of these scientists think. And that's just from observation. So let me know what you think. If you've ever been around, animals, whether dogs or cats or whether horses or other kinds of animals, exotic animals, anything like that, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what your experience is. So I'm going to get into the office now, but I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you next time.